Next, let's look at a business story getting a lot of attention. It's not a surprise that pharmaceutical giant Pfizer's stock price surged on the news. Its coronavirus vaccine is 90% effective in late-stage trials. However, that same day, Pfizer's CEO made more than $5 million by selling company shares. Pfizer says the sale date had been agreed to for months. Our business editor, Stephen Carroll, joins us now via Skype to further discuss. Stephen, this timing raising some eyebrows. What more can you tell us?
Well, this sale was disclosed in a filing to the stock market regulator in the United States, the Securities and Exchange Commission. And what we learned in it is that Albert Bourla had sold more than 132,000 shares on Monday at a share price of just under $42 a piece. That would be close to the highest level that the shares hit on Monday when they had surged over the coronavirus vaccine. Now, the news, of course, had been good news for the company's share price, sending it up by almost 15% on Monday. But this share sale was actually agreed back in August. In fact, the company says that the filing was made because there are strict rules around how executives can sell shares in publicly listed companies. So there are special agreements that have to be put in place. It's called a 10b5-1, the filing that has to be made. And one of those was agreed on August 19th. What you have to do is agree how many shares you want to sell, in what price range you want to sell them, and during what time period. And that written agreement has to be on condition that the person who wants to sell the shares doesn't have any what's called material non-public information that could give them insider knowledge of something that might move the share price. Now, at the time in August when this agreement was signed, it would have been around the time that Pfizer was recruiting participants for the late stage trial of its vaccine. So it would have been before that final stage, the crucial final stage of testing would have begun, and Albert Bourla would have agreed on the number of shares he wanted to sell, the time period over which he wanted to sell them, and the price range. And that's how this share sale took place on Monday. Now, it is, of course, at a time when there's so much attention on Pfizer because of its vaccines. And while it is something that is completely legal and something that had been very carefully regulated, it is at a time, though, that companies who are publicly listed have been warned by the head of the SEC, or cautioned, I should say, not to engage in big share sales during the pandemic because it could look bad and look like that they're taking advantage of knowledge that they may have. But of course, these sales, as I say, are heavily regulated, and certainly Pfizer's CEO had completed all of the paperwork months before we would have known anything about these late stage trials of the vaccine.
Right, of course, nobody wants to be seen as profiting off of this pandemic. Stephen Carroll, thank you so much for that business update.